Welcome, family and friends, to our National Honor Society induction ceremony. And now Piper Neal will come up on the stage to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please stand, remove your caps, and say the Pledge of Allegiance with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. And now welcome Allison Allen as she addresses one of our 4 pillars of the National Honor Society.
Everyday scholarship is a commitment to learning and growing on an educational path. It means making the most of the educational opportunities provided and seeking out learning, not only in school or similar settings, but also personally. Everyday scholarship doesn't require a minimum GPA, but it does require effort. More importantly, it stems from a desire to contribute to this world in a positive way by building on one's own knowledge, skills, and talent through different experiences. And now Drew Emmerich will speak about service.
Everyday service is seeking out and engaging in meaningful service. It calls for a service mindset, a desire to seek opportunities to help others as well as acts of service. As Honor Society students, many young teens and young adults at local chapters are required to meet minimum service participation requirements. Although hours are important, everyday service is seeing a need and fulfilling it voluntarily. Sometimes it's driven by a passion for a specific cause or people in need. Other times it's driven by personal or family need, like taking care of siblings or other family members, or maybe even working part-time to help with family finances. And now Morgan Hodge will come to the stage to speak about leadership.
Everyday leadership builds on everyday service. Service and leadership oftentimes looks very similar. Everyday leadership is carrying oneself with dignity and taking ownership and responsibility for one's own actions and participation. Being a public speaker, playing quarterback, or having an official title is not required for everyday leadership. Everyday leadership means being an agent, someone who takes action and responsibility of your own pathway. And now, Bella Jones will come to the stage to speak about character.
Everyday character is valuing diverse cultures and building relationships that reflect love of self, but also concern for others. There are endless attributes to good character: perseverance, respect, integrity, honesty, sacrifice, and the list goes on. Good and noble character is a high calling. Oftentimes, we don't see character unless there's a public display of self-sacrifice, or more often, a public mistake. Everyday character is not about praiseworthy or blameworthy behavior, but the personal commitment to ethical and compassionate decision-making that affects oneself and others. These are the 4 pillars that must be upheld by each member of the National Honor Society. Thank you.
And now we will have our signing and pinning ceremony. Introducing the new inductees, Helena Banks, escorted by Cameron Etchett. Aaron Buchanan, escorted by Allison Allen.
escorted by Trenton Marinelli. Kaylee Fernandez Naughton, escorted by Allison Allen. Ben Gurrell, escorted by Colin Gilbert. Bryn Grant, escorted by Piper Neal. Phelan Hill, escorted by Morgan Hodge.
Chloe Patrick, escorted by Gabby Cummings.
Angel Porter, escorted by Katrina Smith. Isabella Potter, escorted by Bella Jones. Nicole Ransaran, escorted by Allison Allen. Ava Rao, escorted by Kiara Foster. Jaden Schrog, escorted by Drew Emmerich. Zachary Smith, escorted by Alex White. Sierra Snell, escorted by Alex Berthel. and Emily Thompson, escorted by Morgan Hodge. And now Trent Marinelli will come forward to deliver the National Honor Society pledge.
And now our new inductees will please stand to recite the National Honor Society pledge. Repeat after me. I pledge to uphold the high purposes of the National Honor Society, to which I have been selected. I will be true to the principles for which it stands and will maintain and encourage high standards of scholarship, service, leadership, and character. You may now be seated.
Now we will ask Mrs. Murray to come forward and say a few words.
Good evening and welcome, everyone. Mr. Jackson, I hope this is not going to be a 10-minute speech. Okay, I'm not planning 10 minutes. But good evening and welcome, everyone. It's truly great to see everyone here tonight and that we're back together in a normal fashion to celebrate our new National Honor Society members. It's my honor and privilege to join you on this special occasion. I know how hard each and every one of these students have worked to get to this point, and they did it during a very unusual time in education. So to them, kudos, my hat's off. I can't stress enough how very proud we are of all of your accomplishments and the character and commitment that you've shown to your education during this time. So again, I would like to take my hat off and a round of applause for all of our new inductees and take this as a time to celebrate all of their achievements. So. Now I'd like to invite Colin Gilbert to the stage.
Probably. I have the distinct honor of introducing our guest speaker, Mr. Hamdi Ulakaya. When we first started thinking about who we would like to speak at our induction ceremony, we said, how about Hamdi? After reaching out to Kate Richmond from Chobani, the plan came together, and Hamdi was graciously willing to give up his time to speak to us today. Please welcome CEO and founder of Chobani, Mr. Hamdi Ulakaya.
Thank you. I don't know if you guys can hear me now. Thank you. I am so sorry. I was when I heard and I actually saw the email coming from Colin. I definitely was so happy to receive, and I wanted to be there in person. And until I think last week, that was the plan. And unfortunately, I had to be in our factory in Idaho today, and I left yesterday. So I'm so sorry that I'm not there in person. That was my desire. That was I wanted to do. But even in online, even in this platform, it's so good to be with you all. You know, you're home. You're in my hometown school, and this is an honor society of our hometown school. I have been in South Edmonton, in New Berlin. I don't know how many years. I came to see the plant in South Edmonton. I think it was early 2005 when I purchased it. I think the first day I came to South Edmonton, we came into New Berlin and sit in Frank's restaurant and had the first chat, maybe a few days after. And I've been there most of my time. I think in the last 2-3 years, the position that I'm in, it took me to travel all around and went to so many different places. But I never forget where it's all started. Every opportunity I have, I come back. My home is on Dilly Hill. It's probably the only place I call it home. So speaking to you is like, for me, is talking to people, talking to young people like yourself is talking to people in my hometown. So I'm so honored and happy to be with you all. You know, I got a chance to understand what honor society is and who's involved. And I want to congratulate Fallon and Katrina, you know, coming in, and all the other students that being part of this this amazing organization. I think, you know, whenever I was asked what would my message, and I don't know if I'm in a position to give too much, you know, advice or any recommendations. What I can say is, from my experience, from the day that I walked into that plant in South Edmonton to this moment where I am, your motto on scholarship and service and leadership and character is right on. These are the fundamentals of life. This is the fundamentals of any aspects of life, in business, in science, in sports, or even being a parent. I think these are, when I saw these and I said, amen. The second part I would say is, when I walked into that plant, and Rick, who is still our production manager in our plant in South Edmonton, gave me the first tour. And I even spoke about this in a TED talk. When people saw that it was an old factory in a very small town in the middle of nowhere, I saw the spirit of people of that plant and of course the people of that town. Um, when people saw that this is a waste, this is a ruin, I saw a treasure. And when we started our journey, we really didn't have much money. I had not done that before. I was probably a second person who had a broken English other than Frank after a long time. Um, we had no experience. We never knew how we're going to make this work, right? We didn't have any experience on a commercialization side of things. Odds are all against us from every level. And we are facing a large global corporations have endless resources when it comes to materials, people, resources, relationships, capital, all the things that you can think of. The four of us, when we started, it was Maria, Mike, me, Frank. I think Mike is retired, but Frank, Maria, and Rick is still in the plant. We four of us in the summer of 2005, we looked at each other and says, what are we going to do now? And the first thing that came to our mind is, hey, these walls, and if you pass through the factory, an old building is still there, and those walls are still there. And we said, well, we don't know what we're going to do next, but at least what we can do is paint these walls because they've never been painted in the last 30 years. The reason I'm saying this is actually, it's a motto in our company now, let's start painting the walls. And I want to talk about this to you is because it's always been, you might not know what's next day is going to bring. You might not know what the plan is. You might not know how you're going to solve the problems or where you're going to end up when it comes to decision making. But there's always something to do. And there's a magic on action. And we had choices to sit around and wonder what we're going to do next. Instead, we thought that these walls were not painted for the longest time, and we could solve that right now. And let's go to the Ace Hardware store and buy some paints and let's paint them. And that's what we did that summer, four of us. I look back to Chobani's beginning and our journey. That was probably the single most important decision that we have ever made, is to get into action, is to start from somewhere, is to, doesn't have to be the biggest thing, doesn't have to be the biggest innovation, but whatever that is, we do our thinking in action instead of sitting and wondering and, without an action. So I say, let's keep moving. There's a saying in Rumi, when you start walking the way appears. And there's a good side of unknown, and that's all the life is all about. But when you have service and leadership and character and married with the action, I promise you that magic happens in life. I look back to Chobani and I always say Chobani is built by people of South Edmiston and people of Twin Falls, Idaho. What I embedded into Chobani and my journey is the qualities that I have seen in my family when I grew up in eastern part of Turkey, where they were farmers and shepherds, and the quality of the people in our town, in New Berlin, in South Edmiston, in Norwich, and in Idaho, Twin Falls, where hard work is essential. Relationships are meaningful. Handshake has a meaning, has enormous amount of meaning. And I got your back attitude, this hard work, it's humility, and this family fundamentals. These are so important characteristics in any aspect of life, family, business, or anything that you can think of, that we cannot lose sight of. And if we connect to those fundamentals, and if we have that optimism in life and we start walking the way, I think the life is full of magic, full of surprises. So I wanted to say that. I just wanted to remind you that is everything you need, you already have it because of where you grow up. And the world is your playground. And what other things I have done is I grew up as nomads and British shepherds and farmers. I end up in South Edmonton, and you can imagine the distance that I have traveled. I'm not telling that everyone should travel, uh, but the world is a magical place. Meeting people, interacting with different part of cultures and backgrounds, and understanding people, spending time solving problems. Like next week, I'm going to Poland for the Ukrainian crisis, but understanding that humanity is our neighbor is another aspect that I highly recommend. So with that, I wish you the most amazing journey, and always come back home because home is always special.
Mr. Ulikaya, thank you very much for being part of our ceremony. And now we will ask Mr. Taylor to come forward and say a few closing remarks.
First, I'd like to congratulate all of our new Honor Society inductees and your families. We can't be more proud of you, the hard work you've put in and everything you've accomplished. You look wonderful this evening. We appreciate how you've dressed up. I'm so proud of you. And I didn't even recognize some of you when I walked in the library and I said, look at how wonderful you all look. So congratulations to all of you. Thank you all for attending tonight's National Honor Society induction ceremony. Character, scholarship, leadership, and service are what exemplify our students here tonight. Thank you to Hamdi Alakaya, founder and CEO of Chobani, for being the guest speaker for this year's inductees. I ask that our families remember this weekend that we do have the Aladdin Jr. on Friday at 7 p.m. and Saturday at 2 p.m. in the auditorium here. Again, congratulations to all of you. We look forward to having snacks outside in the storm alley. Refreshments have been provided by Chobani and our cafeteria staff. So we look forward to talking with all of you out in the storm alley. Thank you for coming this evening and congratulations again.